We're going to be diving into this topic that feels really relevant, really timely right now, how AI and machine learning are reshaping the customer experience in real time, which I think is a really key point. First, a quick introduction. My name is Shannon Hall, and I've spent the past 19 years leading communications campaigns for global and North American brands like Tim Hortons and Rogers, Bell, MTV, Burger King. And today I run my own communications consulting business. So this conversation that we're having today around customer experience, personalization, and AI-driven engagement is especially relevant and top of mind for me and my business. And now I'm excited to introduce our guest speaker, Dhawan. He's a transformational technology leader with more than 16 years experience driving AI and machine learning innovation at enterprise scale. He's the engineering director of data and AI at PC Financial, Loblaw. He leads forward-looking Agentic AI and enterprise data platforms, helping build scalable systems that power smarter customer experience and measurable business impact. He combines deep technical experience with strategic business thinking and is passionate about building high-performing, data-driven cultures. Please join me in welcoming Jay.
Thank you. Thanks.
So over the next 15 to 20 minutes, my goal is to unpack some of the biggest opportunities and realities around AI and machine learning and customer experience. We'll talk about how organizations can move beyond basic analytics towards systems that understand intent, predict customer needs, and create more personalized digital experiences at scale. I'll do my best to keep it grounded in plain English as well. I'm sure you all are very aware that with AI, almost every day there's a new acronym or language or term to be aware of. So I'll keep that in mind when chatting with Jay. We'll leave a few minutes at the end as well to ask questions, so please hold on to those, and I'll be opening up the floor with about 5 minutes left. So Jay, Let's start at the beginning.
For sure, yeah.
So we hear terms like AI, machine learning, generative AI, agentic AI constantly right now, but many organizations are still trying to understand what this actually looks like and how to operationalize these systems. So when you think about a strong machine learning and AI ecosystem, what are the foundational components organizations need in place to actually generate meaningful customer insights and business value? So let's kind of keep it focused on like the foundational and accessible parts of these programs.
Yeah. So if we really look at AI, definitely you can do a lot of things, but when you have to think about foundations, I think you should think in terms of what is the business problem that you're trying to solve, and then you also need to look at how your systems and data they are, where they are, and how connected they are. And the third part is the culture, which I think that's how these three things you should look at as a whole. And if I really try to explain each of them, the business problem, you have to really understand what customers are looking for. If you're solving problems for customers, you need to understand what are their pain points, and then you start defining the use cases and your problem solving around it, and that will give you a cue how to really go about building the systems. Now, to enable this, when you have to look at your data systems, or also even your back-end systems, they all have to be connected. People say like the data is in silos. It is a very broad term. It's just not you are just bringing the databases together. You have to also integrate your operational systems and database backends and all those things together, so that like you have a cohesive way to actually enable AI or ML on top of it. And the third thing is the culture. I think the culture is the most important thing. You have to have a team which is ready to take risks, experiment, and enable fast experimentation in production systems, and also go reach out to the customers how they are feeling about it, and actually pivot on the go. And I guess that makes the whole thing very, very important in terms of foundations. I think if you have these three elements, I think it makes a very good combination of going fast and actually executing at scale.
Okay, if people are taking notes, let's just refresh. What are those three things again?
So the business problem, The second thing is the interconnected data systems. And the third thing is the culture. I think these three things are most important ones that you have to focus on.
Love that. Thank you. Yeah. So next, let's get into customer experience and business impact. So one thing customers expect today is personalization, and not just personalization after the fact. They expect it in real time. How are generative and agentic AI systems changing the way organizations engage with customers across discovery, engagement, and conversion?
Yeah, so if we really look at, so maybe for the audience, I want to break down what generative AI and agentic AI is.
Yeah.
Generative AI, if you really see, most of you must have experienced ChatGPT. It's very simple form of like interacting, where you are providing an input and you're getting an answer. It's more interactive approach. And then agentic AI is more like it helps you automate or maybe like do things for you, right? Where like it is running in the background, you want something to happen, and then it is making things happen for you. So agentic AI, I always think of it as proactive approach, and while generative is more reactive. Mm-hmm. And even traditional ML systems, they were like more reactive in nature. When we build, like we look at the past and then we try to predict what is going to happen. That's more like a reactive approach. And with agentic AI, if you really see, it's more proactive, and that helps kind of do things at a faster pace and also at scale, and where you don't have to really intervene. Now, let's take an example how we should think about this. Say, like, you have booked a flight and your flight got cancelled. Now you have to, as a person, like in traditional ML systems, it will send you an alert, or it will tell you like the flight is going to be delayed and you have to act on it. Now you have to do all of it. But with agentic AI, how you can improve customer experiences, you think about when the flight got cancelled, your system can actually look up an alternate flight and actually update the itinerary and book the flight again and send the updated itinerary to the customer. That will like wow the customer, at the same time improve the customer experience where they don't have to really intervene, and also like take it to the whole next level. And it also builds trust. So it's a combination of multiple things which comes together. That's where I think agentic AI is going to be very, very powerful and very much kind of integrated into the systems and the life of each customer that you have. I think that's what I think about, how we should engage, discover, and all those things around the
It feels
agentic.
a little bit more like responsive and proactive,
proactive
from a customer perspective.
Yes, yeah, that's how it is.
So that's how you're seeing, like when we talk about the biggest impact on the customer experience today, that's where you're really seeing that difference, that impact.
Yeah, it's similar experience. Say like you book Uber. Uber has made finding a cab much easier. Like you don't have to really go ask the customer negotiate the fare or anything like that. Uber has solved all those things. If you take it to the next level, it automatically books your ride as well when you're getting out of the airport. So like it's a wow experience, and you stay with the system. And people don't think of moving away from your platform at all.
Yeah.
Right? So it creates a whole, I guess, flywheel of making money and actually creating more revenue for the company. That's how I think about it.
Okay. So let's talk about scalability and infrastructure. We often hear about AI capabilities, but not always about the infrastructure required to support them. Can you explain why scalable compute and modern ML infrastructure are so critical for delivering real-time AI experiences, especially at enterprise scale?
Yeah. So if we really look, I'll take an example of TikTok or Instagram. All of you must be using one of them. So
I love real-world examples.
yeah. So if you really see, we see content as soon as we open the app, right? So if that has to happen, in the background, there must be a lot of computations are happening on the fly. And as soon as you see one sort of a reel or video, it tries to show the similar thing. So how does it happen? On the fly, it is actually trying to compute so much for you. It is trying to look at your history, patterns, behavior, and on the fly, with millions of data points more than that, it's trying to capture and actually compute and give you back the recommendation saying this is what you should look at. Similarly, with Agentic AI, now it is going to the next level. It is also connecting, just not it is analyzing your past behaviors, it is actually acting on it as well. Now, if you have to do that, you have to have so many resources behind the scenes working and executing those actions based on what you want. So it completes the whole journey, understanding your behavior, what you want, and also acting on it and actually taking to the next level where finishing it and giving you the confirmation saying this has happened for you. I think that's how I feel. And you have one more thing which I would say is today, like we are doing everything on servers, on cloud platforms. What I foresee is in coming days, you will see all these capabilities present on your phone, mobile devices, or any device as you would use, which will enable much more at a faster pace. Now, other thing which we need to think about is sometimes we see the lag. Even to avoid lag in today's terms, on the cloud, on your on-prem servers, the connectivity has to be much faster. So that's why you need more resources to kind of enable that today. But as we go, say like 5 years down the line, you will see it much faster happening on local devices, on local apps, whatever you would have.
What happens if businesses underestimate the complexity of all of that infrastructure?
So if they try to see, it's again going back to the TikTok example. If that doesn't work, assume they have underestimated that these many servers they don't need, or these many, I guess, network bandwidth they don't have. You will start seeing the lag in the app. Mm-hmm. People will start dropping off. People will not be able to complete. If they say on an e-commerce website, they will start dropping off of their transaction, and they are not completing. It's a business loss. It's a significant business revenue loss, trust loss. You also lose customer, which is a very hard thing to build, retain those customers. I think it's a combination of it, and overall your top of the funnel actually drops out. Yeah. So you lose customer altogether, like for life.
You don't get a lot of chances to prove that experience with customers. If they have a bad experience, they tend to drop off and perhaps never come back.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's what happens. And having worked, I've actually seen apps with the 600, 700 million app installs, 200 million monthly active. So I see like how the retention is very hard thing to build in those ecosystems. And when I look at, say, like a company like Loblaw, which is very offline first company, even bringing them online and actually having those transactions happen, I think it's like altogether a different ballgame. Like if you have anywhere lag in your whole process, even if in your physical store you have lag at your checkout, people actually tend to go to other stores. So it's very natural phenomena. I think companies have to actually provide resources. I know like it's expensive, but it actually improves the customer experience to the whole next level. So that's the most important thing people have to focus on, and companies have to focus on.
So next, we chatted about this a couple minutes before, but risk, trust, and governance. I know that's something that a lot of businesses and organizations are kind of grappling with. So let's kind of pick your brain on this topic a little bit. Yeah. So whenever we talk about AI, there's also an important conversation around these pieces. What are some of the biggest risk organizations should be paying attention to when implementing AI-driven customer experiences?
Yeah, so if we really look today, like traditional ML systems were easier. You could potentially understand what is the input and what is going out. So potentially you can even try to understand the model and even explain what is happening there. But with Agentic AI and Gen AI, like you see all the time, you must have seen a lot of news as well, like models are saying this, like, and hallucinating. So if you really see Gen AI in its essence, if it doesn't have the right answer, it will become creative and give you some answer, right? What does that really mean? That's what we call it as hallucination, right? The models are hallucinating. You are trying to really trying to look for an answer. It is giving you an answer, but it may not be accurate. So now, how do we actually go about actually making it accurate or correct to the best possible way? I think in those scenarios, when there are like high-risk workflows or high-risk things that you're trying to automate through Agentic AI, you need to have human in the loop to continuously assess what is happening. And even maybe like for critical decisions, you always have human in the loop. They review the Agentic AI's decision, and actually giving back the answer to the customers. And if, say, like for low-risk things, you can potentially think about you create some parameters and matrix. If the thresholds have been met, I guess you can let it go and continuously evaluate and improve your systems overall. And you have to have governance of all the systems that are connected to this agentic AI systems, so that what is happening, how they are how the agentic AI systems are interacting with your backend systems, what data they are actually looking at. And when we are talking about data, you also need to kind of govern the data side as well, so that your systems are only accessing the data very specific to that customer, not really going beyond that. Whatever it doesn't have, you have to ground the LLMs to kind of power these agentic AI systems so that they are not going beyond what they should be doing.
It's reassuring to hear you talking about the human role in
Yeah.
all of this, because I think that's something we're all
certainly
thinking about as well.
I certainly think it's going to create more jobs overall.
Yeah.
People are worried that it's going to be less. I don't think it's going to be the other way. There'll be more jobs overall.
And when just different jobs.
Yeah, different jobs, yeah.
So when you talk about that human component, with things being so quick, so like the response time being so fast, at what point is that human kind of involved in that process?
So I can give you an example. Say, let's look at, say, if you have a credit card application, like if you're applying for a credit card. Most of the work, potentially, you can automate doing a credit bureau check or actually going to past credit history and everything of that customer through agentic AI. You can automate most of it, but you may not want to give the decision out to the customer. You want to have some human to really look at it and actually approve that application based on everything what agentic AI may have given. It may just improve the timing of getting back to the customer, and which improves your customer experience because you can be fast. But at the same time, you're actually also reducing the workload on your employees as well. So it's a win-win on both sides. But at the same time, you're actually having someone really making that decision without really just AI doing the thing.
Okay. So that's reassuring for us to know that it's not just being fully left up to the cloud to respond to.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about some key takeaways for today. So for leaders in the room who are trying to determine where to invest their time, resources, and attention right now when it comes to these systems, what's the one mindset shift or strategic priority you believe will separate organizations that successfully elevate customer experience with AI from those that will fall behind?
Yeah. I think if we really look at how at the start when I said, right, we have to think about business problem, I think that's the key. You always start with the business problem.
Love that.
AI is very shiny thing, which will attract you. There's a technology, there are tools. Don't get distracted by that. Focus on the business value and the business problem that you're trying to solve. That will help you, help business, help customers. And at the same time, when you're doing all of that, you want to focus on the risk associated with it as well and make sure that you are taking care of, you have enough guardrails, enough grounding of everything. And the last thing which I'd say is focus on business problem. Don't fall in love with the AI tools. That's it.
And then something that I've learned by just playing around with it and learning myself is the amount of context that you need to put in order to get a good result. Can you talk to us a little bit about prompts and how to give these systems the information they need to get the best output?
Yeah, so that's what mostly grounding is. So you have to specify exactly what you want, right? So that's where SMEs come into the picture as well. That's another part of jobs, I think, which you will see getting created. You need more SMEs to kind of do all these things. So when you're actually prompting any Gen AI system, right, you have to be very specific what role you are talking about, what are you looking for, how long, say if you are doing a presentation, say for a CEO, you have to specify, I'm presenting this to CEO, I want this to be very, very sharp, very crisp bullet points. But if say you're doing for a teaching session somewhere, you want it to be a more detailed topic. So you build out a presentation or content according to that. I think you have to really go specific. I think over time, when you try to do it maybe 10, 100 times, I think you will kind of by yourself like figure out, okay, this has to be very sharp and crisp. And those instructions also become part of these agentic AI workflows as well. So I think it enables everyone in a way, not just like tech devs to really do these things. Actually, anyone can do it eventually. That's what I foresee, that all business side of people as well kind of work through it and actually enable these agentic AI workflows. So.
Yeah, because I'm seeing like the quality of the output is dependent on the quality of the input.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, we've got a little bit of time. I feel like we've talked about a few different areas. You've heard us talk about ML systems, AI, and all these other pieces. What questions are you leaving? Are you going to leave out of the room today? Like, let's grab Jay's attention while we can and get some answers. Yep.
Outside.
I can summarize quickly. So the question is just around like how do you set up guardrails?
Yes.
Yep.
So my question is like, let's suppose if I am from CIBC, I have the PIA data of 5 million customers with me, and now I want to use AI to help my customers have a better customer experience. Now to do that, the AI will have the access to my sensitive PII data. But I don't want the AI to reuse it for something else. I don't want the data to go outside my banking domain, so that the problem also gets resolved. I give my customers the best experience they want, but I don't want to risk.
You're
losing
keeping the
something.
data and information confidential.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's because that's the problem I face with my customers a lot, that they want to implement AI,
Yeah.
but they're not confident like how we can secure our environment, our data. That's what I face every now and then. So could you help me like how do we manage it?
Yeah. So ideally, there's a technical answer to it, but I'll try to make it generalized for everyone, so it's easier to understand how to think about it. So if we really look at our data systems, they are very like now to enable these agentic AI workflows, you have to have systems interconnected. Now, how we can protect this to like where the data leakage happens? Basically, what data leakage mean here is that if you are accessing for a specific customer, the other customer's data shouldn't go in there. And also at the same time, the same customer's data shouldn't be used for any other purpose except the purpose that is being asked for. So now for that to happen, you can, today, like most companies would work through microservices, APIs. You must have heard like people use APIs in the backend. You can actually govern those APIs with a policy system, which can actually define what data is this allowed. Even for your agents, AI agents, you can actually define what access they have, what APIs they can access, and if they have accessed once, can they access it again? So you can start throttling how many times that information can be accessed, if the purpose has been fulfilled in your workflow. If you got the confirmation somewhere that the purpose has been fulfilled, you don't need to have an access anymore, and basically your access tokens or whatever access mechanism you have, you expire that access mechanism at that time and don't let it happen again. I think that's one way of thinking about it. There could be 100 other ways. I'm just saying like this could be one of the best ways to kind of think about it.
So my thought will be like this. Let's suppose I'm asking something to Claude, to the LLM, but that resides in their data centers. That technology resides with them.
Sure.
But now I have my data. I don't want that data to be used within their data centers. I want that to be used within my building, within my data center, but use their technology. So
It's
how
like
can I?
you want to strengthen your own company's intelligence
Yeah.
without having that leak to other.
Yeah. So the way to look at the way to do it is you have to use grounding. So basically, when you send information out to these LLMs, so Claude model or Gemini or any other LLMs that you're using behind the scenes, you have to take out the private information, the confidential information. You never send that information out to them. That's how typically I've built systems, and that's how I think about it, where you exclude or scrape.
Or encrypting the PI data.
Yeah. Or encrypt it, or you remove that information. You have some level of grounding of information, what you're sending out, so that like you never expose your private information to those systems.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Question: over the years, we've had data brought into conversation just to corroborate the biggest opinion in the room's thoughts. And I'm curious if you have any use cases or examples where you've opened up AI on your data and it's actually identified a completely different problem you didn't know the organization needed to solve, or opened your eyes to other facets that didn't necessarily corroborate with a narrative that the organization was certain of before.
So I haven't seen a use case where we actually want to open it up for whole customer data kind of thing. But what we have done, say like our internal systems, what we really look at inefficiencies. Say you can think about like when we run these tech systems, you have errors coming into all the time. You also have some failures. You have to have like a resolution. Some system is not working. All those things. So we have started defining those kind of things, like where how we like if we expose this data, like can we help mitigate those errors? We actually experimented, it worked really well. And similarly, I think those can be extended, like for different industries. If you really look, start with internal systems, which you don't really bring out any customer impact. I think that's the way to go about it. And that's what we did. Once we start feeling enough confidence into it, then we start exposing it to the larger customer bases as well. So that's how we are approaching this. And that's one of the examples that I can give you. You can think of in any terms, right? You can think of, say, like if you're in banking, you think about your back-end workflows. If you're into retail and logistics, look at your supply chain systems, how those are like becoming inefficient. If you're purely into tech, you think about how your cloud platforms and other systems are working or not working, throwing out errors. So think about in all those terms. I think that gives you enough context and give you more confidence how good your systems are. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Hi. You mentioned culture and AI culture is necessary for adoption. For organizations that have little to no AI presence in their orgs, could you talk a little bit more about the strategies that are proven to implement, support the change management, and ultimately build that culture from the ground up?
Okay. So if we really see, I think one of the easiest thing everyone can do is actually, most of you must be using ChatGPT in some form, or ChatGPT or any other form of ChatGPT, like Gemini or Claude or any other sort of LLM model. So if people start seeing value in it, I think that's the first step. You should enable everyone to do that within your ecosystem, in your enterprise, in a controlled setup, where you're actually enabling them to use those tools. Because they use it outside work as well, it gives them that comfort, I think, to use at work as well. Now, if that is happening, then you can go beyond one level and actually automate some of the things with what people used to do, where people are spending a lot of time doing mundane things, or maybe just spending time and not really being productive with it. People don't feel good about doing it as well. Maybe you want to automate. I guess that starts building out the confidence. And once people see these things happening, they will start embracing this as a culture. And they will try to look forward and actually may want to do many more things with it, being on the customer side, being on your internal side as well, on the company side. That's how I think about it.
I feel like it starts with leaders and just shaping the example of using it, not being scared of it, knowing that it's going to be around.
Yeah.
Just encouraging that culture of curiosity.
Yeah. Baby steps, and I think people will start taking like bigger steps by themselves.
Yeah. Are we?
Shannon, Jay,
No more questions?
That we're out of time.
We're
right
out
now.
of time. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for this. We